Across something the other day that I thought was interesting. The word amateur actually comes from the Greek word to love, and what I've come to realize is that this amateur professional model is a circle of sorts. So all of us begin this game as amateurs, and amateur, I think, means to love the game at its basic core, to love your teammates. And I think also we need to throw in respect your coach. I think those are your three essential ingredients for the amateur. And then what happens is the amateur eventually grows into, and I have professional, not everyone, of course, becomes a professional, but as they learn the game, as they grow in the game, right, they're being taught by a professional. And this professional is teaching them how to hit, how to pitch, how to run the bases, how to do things. And on occasion, I've been known to call this wrong spotting. Okay. And that's generally how the process works, that every coach is entrusted with a certain amount of athletes. And in their charge, what they're tasked with is they're tasked with helping to grow the amateur in the game that they love, so that they become closer to their goal of becoming a professional. And in and of itself, isolated like this, that makes all the sense in the world. Well, what happens is, when you think about this model systemically, when you think about the fact that coaches aren't just the only coach in a player's life, what you realize is that these amateur players grow in the game, and they find themselves with multiple coaches. So this amateur, on his way to becoming a professional, what he hears this wrong spotting message. And I like to say that what the professional often does is the professional grows our hard skills. In other words, this professional approach, it teaches us how to hit. It teaches us how to pitch. It teaches us how to play defense. It teaches us all these things, and in isolation, all those things are fine. But what happens over time, let's assume that this silo, or this window right here, is the college athlete. And I'm speaking from experience now. What happens is when you get these wrong spotting messages over and over and over again, at the end of this system, your soft skills, or your love of the game, your love of teammates, and your respect of coaches, sometimes these things fall under attack, because at the beginning of every system is a coach that is basically helping you navigate their world. And as they offer up all of these ideas or all of these wrong spotting messages, teaching you to hit and teaching you to pitch and teaching you how to play defense, sometimes we forget that the true nature of amateur is to love and respect. And when these folks are desperate for resilience and grit and for determination and for learning how to deal with failure, sometimes the simple message is making sure that these professionals embrace a beginner's mindset. And yes, we have to wrong spot, and yes, the game gets hard at the end, but we need to constantly be aware of the amateur. The true definition of amateur is love of the game, love of the teammates, and respect those coaches. So this wrong spotting in isolation seems simple. It seems obvious. It's part of the growth of every athlete. But when you look at something with the big picture and you realize that it's a message that they hear repeatedly, you can't help but to question and identify how that love of the game does come under attack. And I've used the hashtag fit before grit. And what that means is, you need to find your niche in the game before you ask someone to be gritty and have resolve and have perseverance, because really what it comes down to is the ones that keep showing up, the ones that keep navigating this system, are the ones that have the love intact.